It's Ruthie and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a natural, everyday, full face tutorial. A lot of you guys have been wanting me to do this for some time, considering most of the looks I do are creative and very flamboyant. I don't know if that's the right word. They're just very out there and they're definitely not something you would wear every day or even really out much at all. So without further ado, let's just get started. So as you can probably see, I did my eyebrows off camera. If you guys want an eyebrow tutorial though, then comment down below. But some tips I have for eyebrows is when you're doing a natural makeup look, in order to have eyebrows that flatter your face the most, I'd recommend doing the ends higher up rather than making them lower down, if that makes sense. It'll give your face more of a lifted look. I also recommend making sure you soften the beginning of the brow so that it's not blocky and bold. Personally, with natural makeup, I think less is more, so you really just want to make sure that your eyebrows aren't too much of a statement unless you like it that way. Tip for mine is I just filled them in my natural shape with the ABH Dip Brow in the shade Medium Brown. I love this, but you have to learn how to use it right and you don't want to use too much of it. Okay, so first I'm just going to start by carving out my eyebrows with the Tarte Shape Tape. And what I just do is with a flat concealer brush, I just go along the edges of my eyebrows to clean them up a little bit and make them look nice and sharp. And then I'm just going to do the other eyebrow, obviously trying to make it as even as I can. Once you have your eyebrows carved out to your liking, you're going to want to go over them with some eyebrow gel. I'm using the NYX Control Freak Gel. This gel works pretty good for me. I also like the Anastasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel. So now I'm just putting the Tarte concealer all over my lid to prime my eye for the eyeshadow. When I'm doing my creative makeup looks, I use eye primer. But personally, I don't feel like eye primer is necessary just for natural everyday looks. I don't think that you need it because you're not going to be using super colorful pigmented eyeshadows. So concealer works just fine for me. In fact, I kind of like it better for this purpose. So I kind of just dab that on with my finger. You can put it on with a beauty blender or a brush. I even blend it through like this part, just to make sure everything's blended and there's no harsh lines. I'll obviously blend that out later. Some people like to leave their concealer wet, but personally I like setting it with powder before I'm doing a soft look. Once again, if I am doing a more colorful, creative, vibrant look, I will not set it. But when I am doing a more natural look, I am going to set it because personally I think it makes the shadows blend better and you don't need a ton of pigmentation. So today the palette that I'm going to be using is the Zoeva Caramel Meringue palette. I'm not really sure if I said the meringue part right, but hopefully I did. So the first shade I'm going to be using is the Universal Delight shade. I'm going to be using this shade as a transition shade all over my crease. A transition shade helps to blend out all of the other colors just so you can have a flawless eyeshadow look and it can just be fully blended and look stunning. When using a transition shade, you want it to be just a little bit darker than your natural skin tone because you're going to want all of the other shadows to blend with it seamlessly. The next shade I'm going to be using is Start Soft. I'm just blending this shade into my crease, and because my eyes are just a tiny bit hooded and kind of small, I like to blend kind of above my crease instead of right inside of it to give my eyes just more of a lifted look. And I just make sure to blend that all throughout. The brush I'm using is the R&L Moda Pro BMX 430 crease brush. Now I'm just going to be dipping right into my Morphe 35V palette. I'm going to be using this shade right here. Now I'm just going to be placing that in my crease once again, just blending it out to give my crease some more definition. So now I'm just going to be dipping into this shade in the Morphe palette, and I'm going to be taking this brush, and I honestly don't know the brand, but it's an eye shader brush. It's kind of like a flat blending brush, and I'm going to be taking that shade and going into my outer. And I'm also going to go back to my blending brush and just blend it in some more. So now with a flat brush, I'm going to be taking this shade and I'm going to be putting it all over my lid. I personally do not like just going on my lid. I like to go a little bit above my lid just because I have small eyes and I do have a small lid naturally. And once again, I feel like it makes my eyes open up a little bit. I also like to use my finger to pat on eyeshadow just because I like the look that it gives. So basically that is the eyeshadow look. Now I'm going to move on to my face. So first I'm going to moisturize my face with a Glossy Skin Balm by Touch in Sol. Moisturizing your face is a very crucial part regardless of whether you have oily skin or not. This will really make sure your makeup just looks flawless and has a good base. I really like this moisturizer in specific because it is kind of like a primer too, so it'll prime and moisturize your face. So now I like to formally prime my face with the Benefit Porefessional Primer. I typically use this on spots on my face where I have a lot of pores or there's some texture, so mainly like my chin and my nose and my forehead. This is a silicone-based primer. Silicone-based primers are great for filling in your pores. There are other primers that are hydrating primers that are great if you have dry skin. Personally, I don't. So a silicone primer is great for me and the purposes that I need it. You really want to make sure it's definitely rubbed in all the way because if not, it could make your foundation a little bit patchy or just like not flawless. So you want to make sure you just have a really good base layer. A great tip for making sure your foundation doesn't look cakey is to let your moisturizer and primer settle into your skin for a couple minutes before applying foundation. Because if you think about it, you need to let it settle into your pores in order for it to cover up your pores and just to not be sitting on top of your skin. So while that's settling in, I like to take the time to carve out the top part of my eyebrows. For foundation, today I'm going to be using the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This foundation is a great medium coverage natural finish foundation. It's really good for everyday use. So I'm just going to take a little bit of that and carve around the top part of my eyebrow. It's really important to do this so that your foundation and your eyebrows really just blend in together and you make sure there's no gaps without foundation. And you don't want to do this with concealer because oftentimes it'll make it look very bright and just not good. You just really want it to blend in with your foundation. I also take the foundation right here and take the time to make sure I blend in my concealer with my foundation that I put here. Now before I do the rest of my foundation, I'm going to put on this headband to make sure all the makeup stays out of my hair. It kind of makes me look like an egg, but that's okay. And when you're doing natural makeup, you want to remember that less is more with foundation. Personally, I don't really have a lot of acne to cover up, so that's why I only use a medium coverage foundation. If you do have more acne or discoloration that you want to cover up, I recommend a high coverage foundation. A really good one is Juvia's Place foundation. But always think less is more because you don't want your makeup to look cakey. Another tip that I have for makeup application is to start from the outside and kind of just blend the rest of the foundation on the inside. Because if you think about it, you're already going to be putting concealer to highlight in those places, so you don't need to double up concealer and foundation. I apply the foundation onto my beauty blender and I start from the outside and I just work on blending it in. Especially with your nose, if your nose is something that doesn't hold makeup well, this will help it from rubbing off because you don't have a lot of product on your nose. And I recommend blending it just by tapping the beauty blender. You don't need to swipe it or anything because you don't want to create any weird lines or streaks. And most importantly, don't forget to go down your neck because you don't want it to look like you're wearing a mask, and you really want to make sure to blend this area right here in specific because everyone's done it before where they forget to blend it and it just looks very not super good. Once you're all done with that, you're going to want to go in with your concealer. Once again, I'll be using the Tarte Shape Tape in the shade Fair Neutral. The Tarte Shape Tape is a very full coverage concealer. It's great if you have dark circles. Considering I don't have a great amount of acne or dark circles, I like to use my concealer to highlight my face. So I'm just going to put it under my eyes. And once again, less is more. Even with this, you don't need a lot. I'm going to be putting it under my eyes, on my chin, on my cupid's bow, my nose, and my forehead. Now I'm just going to be blending that in. You want to use a concealer shade that is 2 shades lighter than your foundation so that it lightens your face up. If, however, you are using concealer to conceal any of your blemishes, you want to obviously use it to your skin tone. I also like to blend my concealer out over here just to highlight and lighten up the area. Now for setting powder, I'm going to be using the Ciate London Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. This setting powder smells so good. What I like to do instead of setting my makeup with a brush is I like to set it with a beauty blender. Personally, I don't bake because I think it makes my makeup look very dry, and I just don't think it's super necessary to pack all of that powder. However, I do set all of my powder. Don't forget to get around your eyebrows too. You can even go a little bit over your eyebrows just to make sure you get that spot. So now that that's all set, I'm going to be going in with the same eyeshadow shades that I used before and just going under my eye. You want to make sure when you're doing this you don't go too far down, because that can definitely make a whole look very weird, but personally I do like to go a little bit more down than normal. So now that I've done that, I'm going to move right into contouring. For my contour palette, I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Contour Kit. And for a brush, I'm going to be using the Alamar Complexion brush. I'm just going to be dipping into this shade right here. And I'm just going to be going in on the corners of my cheek. A lot of people go really harsh on the contouring, which you really don't need to do. It just makes it look like you're wearing a lot more makeup, and it just looks super harsh and unnatural. So you really want to keep it light right here, and just remember that you're just defining your cheekbones and making them stand out and creating shadows. So now I'm just going to go in and contour my jawline just to make sure it's looking extra sharp. And then I'm going to go on my forehead just to slim down my forehead and make it look not as big. When I'm contouring, I prefer using cooler tones because it really just allows it to look more natural, because your shadows are realistically not warm tones, they are cool tones. And then you go back in with a bronzer after. So now I'm just going to contour my nose and go down the bridge of my nose just to slim it out a little bit, nothing too harsh or anything. And then I like to go under my nose a little bit and up here just to give that cute button nose. To bronze, I'm going to be using the Wander Trip to 2 Blush and Bronzer Compact thing. As for a brush, I'm going to be using this Morphe brush, like a contour brush but a little bit more fluffier, just because you don't need to be as precise when you're bronzing. So I'm just going to dig into that and just kind of like go in the same spots and just go over it a little bit. Just warming up your face all around. You can use more or less of this depending on the vibe that you're going for. Personally, I want this to be a bronzy, glowy look, so I am going to use a little bit on the more side. So now that I've done that, I'm going to head right into blush. So for blush, I'm going to be using the ColourPop Mulan blush in the shade Good Luck Charm. I love this blush. It's such a gorgeous color, and it's shimmery too, which is really cute. For the brush, I'm going to be using the Juno & Co blush brush. And when I put my blush on, I like to smile and just put it on my cheekbones. Blush is honestly probably one of my favorite parts of makeup because personally I feel like it really just pulls the whole look together. And it just adds in a little pop of color back to your lifeless contoured face. So now, before doing anything else, I'm going to set my face. I really love the NYX Dewy Finish Setting Spray. Personally, I love to use a lot of setting spray. I feel like setting spray is so crucial for having a non-cakey makeup look. It really just sets and finishes all of your makeup so that it doesn't look powdery or cakey and it all just blends together. After my setting spray is a little bit dry, but not all the way dry, I like to go in with some highlighter. I'm going to be using the Artist Couture Diamond Glow Powder in the shade Summer Haze. I really like this highlighter. And I'm just going to be using a basic Morphe highlighting brush and going in along my cheekbones. I really love this highlighter because I feel like it kind of gives you that wet and dewy look. If you are going for a more natural look, you don't need your highlighter to be super blinding. You just want to make sure it's blended in thoroughly. I also like to go above my eyebrow, which some people do and some people don't, just right here. Now with a smaller brush, I'm going to be going in on my Cupid's bow and my nose, in my inner corners and my brow bone. For my lips, I'm going to be using the ColourPop Mulan lipstick in the shade Hua Mulan. This is such a pretty natural shade. You can line your lips first. I don't usually do that for natural makeup. One super flattering thing I have been loving to do with my lips lately to make them more pouty and like natural is to put concealer on the outer edges. What I do is I kind of just dab it there and make sure it's all blended and everything into your lipstick. And then I do that on the other side too. Like, that's the difference. This is what it looks like. I think it looks super cute and natural. I'm going to be going in with the ColourPop Mulan lip gloss in the shade Phoenix. This is such a pretty natural gloss. It's not sticky and I literally love it, and it smells really good. See, that is just such a pretty and natural gloss. So for mascara, I'm going to be using the Power Up Mascara by Butter London. I'm just going to be applying that to my lashes like normal. You can curl your lashes before. Usually I would, but I can't find my eyelash curler. When you're doing mascara, you really want to make sure that your lashes are not clumpy, because that is just not the look. And I'm just going to go on my bottom lashes as well. You can apply more or less mascara. That's all personal preference. This is the amount that I personally like to do. But yeah, this is the look. This is the look I'll do if I'm going out to take pictures or going out to eat somewhere nice or just to like any special event. I don't usually wear this on an everyday basis because personally I just don't like to. I just wanted to make a reminder that all of you guys are pretty without makeup. You're all beautiful in your own way. You don't need makeup to be pretty, but if it makes you feel pretty, then that's okay. Whatever makes you feel beautiful, you guys are all beautiful from the inside out. If someone tells you you wear too much makeup, don't listen to them. Whatever makes you feel good about yourself is okay. Personally, I don't like to wear makeup every day, but that's just me. And like, that's 100% okay. I just wanted to let all of you guys know that you are all beautiful in your own way. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial that you all have been asking for so long. Make sure to comment down below any video requests you want me to do. And make sure to like this video if you liked it and click the subscribe button if you want to see more of me. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next video.